Who sings the song? Extra credit if you get it right. Ask your parents. They probably know. Okay. There's your extra credit question for today. You gotta tell me what song is it and who sings it. I'll give you some extra credit points for it. There's your music lesson. Okay, this is your second video for, and I think in my last video, I think I said 1.5 when we're still in 1.4. I think, let me see here. What section am I on? Oh, no, we're in 1.5. Maybe I can say that right. Okay, so we're gonna now do the second part of that lesson. Okay, yes, the other day you watched a video on rewriting formulas. So now we're going to rewrite equations for a variable. Just like you rearrange those formulas for a certain variable, you're going to do the same thing with equations, okay? But it's going to look a little different to you because some kids think that they're not finished when they are, okay? So take this equation right here. If you notice, this is different than the equations you've had so far. These have two different variables in it, which you're going to have, okay? But right now, we're just going to learn how to isolate one of them. So there's no way that you can actually solve for the actual x or the y, like actually get a number value for them because you have two, okay? So let me show you what I mean, okay? On this problem, if I wanted you to solve for y, so if I just change this right here, I want you to solve for the variable y. Here's what you would do. You're going to look to see where is the y, see what's hanging out with it, and how can I get rid of whatever's with it. Well, right here, you have a minus 3x, and you want to get rid of the entire 3x. You don't want to just get rid of the 3, so you don't want to divide, because that would just get rid of 3. I want to get rid of this entire value. So I want to do the opposite. We're subtracting 3x here, so I want to add 3x to get rid of it. So we're going to add 3x to both sides. Now, as you can see, minus 3x plus 3x wipes that out completely. There's no x left, okay? This whole value, anything, if you start in the negatives and add itself, you're going to get to 0. So that's gone. So now you have y equals 13 plus 3x. You can't combine these and make 16x. These are not like terms, so you just leave them as is, and you're done. That's it. You're just practicing how to get a variable by itself. Once it's by itself, you're done. You can try to simplify this as best you can, but right now there's nothing more you can do with that one. You don't know what x is, so you can't solve for an actual value for y. You just have an expression that if you did know x, you could get the value of y, but this is the expression that would tell you what y is. Okay? So we're going to try another one. Let's see how this works. Okay, so now I'm going to go up here and we're going to keep the same equation that we had, but this time in your directions, you're going to solve for x. So now you want x by itself. Well, we can do that. We got to figure out what's with the x and try to get rid of it. Well, we have a y over here and a negative 3. But just like I've told you before, the coefficient of a variable, save for last if you can. It's usually easier, okay? So we want to save this negative 3 for last. So let's get rid of the y. Subtract it. A number, y is a number. Subtract itself, gets nothing, gets rid of it. So we're going to subtract it on this side, subtract on this side. We get negative 3x equals 13 minus y. We can't solve that. We don't know what y is. There's nothing we can do with it, okay? But now with the x, we got to get rid of the negative 3, and you guys already know how to get rid of a coefficient. You just divide. Divide by negative 3, but everything gets divided by negative 3 over here. everything, because remember, division doesn't need like terms. So you can either do this, divide by -3, divide by -3. Everything gets divided, okay? The other way you could write that, let me just rewrite it. You could put a division bar right underneath all of it and put a -3 there, okay? Just be careful because sometimes you could simplify this part right here, but I can't simplify 13 over 3. So we leave it. This is gone. X equals that. That's all we can do. 13 minus y over -3. We're done. There's nothing more I can solve there. There's no simplifying I can do. You just have to remember that 3 is being, the 13 is being divided by the -3 and the y is being divided by -3. Okay, that's it. Your x is by itself. This expression, if you did know what y was, you could actually solve and get a value, a number value for x. But you don't know it, so you leave it. This is just the working expression to solve for x. Okay? What do you think? Good? We will try another one just for some practice, because you're going to get all sorts of different ones, but just try to remember all those rules that you learned already about how to solve for your variable. You're going to use opposite operations. You're going to wait till the end to get rid of a coefficient. You're going to do all those things. You might have to do the distributive property first. So let me give you another example. Okay, let me grab one. Okay, so let's try something like, how about one with a fraction? Okay, so we've got, how about this one? We've got 2 plus 1/6 y equals 3x plus 4. Okay, and let's say they want you to solve for y. So we need to look at this whole thing, find out where y is. It's right here on the left side of the equal sign. So we want to look over here and figure out, what do I need to get rid of? And if you can see, you got to get rid of a 2 and you got to get rid of this 1/6. That's a coefficient of y. Once you did that, you'd have y by itself. So again, save this for last. Let's get rid of the 2. Subtract 2 on both sides. Now over here, there's only one thing that I can subtract 2 from, okay? Because if I wrote it like this, just so you understand this, if I wrote the subtract 2 right there, you can see these are like terms. It's the only thing you can subtract from. I just don't write it horizontally. I write it underneath. But I can't subtract 2 from 3x. They're not like terms. So I go like this. This cancels. 1/6 y equals 3x plus 2. Okay? The last thing you have to get rid of is the 1/6. But remember, this is a fraction as a coefficient. And we've already learned this, that to get rid of that, you want to multiply its flip. Multiply 6 over 1, which is just multiplying by 6. So those all cancel. But I have to multiply this side by 6. But everything gets multiplied by 6 because it doesn't need like terms. Everything gets multiplied by 6. It's almost like having this, parentheses. 6 times 3x is 18x. 6 times 2 is 12. And you're done. Your y is by itself. This is the expression that would tell you what y would equal if you knew what x was. Okay, so if I said at the end, oh, x is 2, then you'd plug it in and you'd figure out what y is. Okay, let's see. Now, the only thing that I'm going to try one in here that might look a little tricky. Okay, so you're going to have to pay attention to your directions. Sometimes they'll ask you to solve for y. Sometimes your directions are going to ask you to solve for x. So read your directions carefully. Okay, that's when they say solve for that variable, they mean get that variable by itself.